You know, I think no matter what you do when it comes to your home, you should do it with style. The book we're featuring today, Downsizing Your Home with Style by Lauri Ward, published by Collins, does exactly that. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
You know, I think the perception when it comes to downsizing is like our grandparents. You know, everybody's grown and they've got this big house and it's time to move to a smaller place. And while that is true, that's really not the whole story, is it?
Well, I do think it is true, but it's a much bigger picture than that. It's not just the baby boomers who are getting older and deciding that they don't want the big house. There are also people, let's say they have a baby, and they say, we can't afford to move. Even staying in place, we suddenly have to downsize because there's less space for all of us.
Right.
Or a couple that's remarrying, let's say. They've both been married before, they're bringing both of their things and they're merging. And suddenly they're in one place with all of this stuff and they don't know what to do.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
I started out as a conventional interior designer, and I wasn't happy doing that because it's sales-oriented, and I didn't want to be a furniture salesperson.
Okay.
And so I opened up Use What You Have Interiors, and for the last 20-odd years have been showing people how to use the things that they have and pull it together without spending money.
Okay.
And that sort of led to all these other things that have been going on. And I've been hearing from a lot of my clients that they're downsizing and they needed help. And I couldn't be with them all the time.
Right, right. So give us an example of one of the tips in the book about downsizing.
Well, there are several sections. There's lots. This is sort of to guide you from the very first moment that you decide that you want to downsize your home, whether you're moving from a larger to smaller space or staying in place and simplifying. And it takes you through the steps of finding a new place, assessing the space that you're going to move in if you are moving, and using the space that you have so that you know what to take with you and what not to take. There's a section that's always, sometimes, and never, so that you don't waste time bringing pieces with you that you don't really need.
There has to be a whole emotional side of downsizing too, right? I mean, you build a lifetime of all these memories and things inside your home. Certainly some things you treasure, but I would imagine you have examples of people making mistakes when they downsize too, right? Getting rid of things that really were important to them that they didn't realize would be important to them after it's gone.
It's true. There are so many people, I have a lot of clients, and they say, Lauri, I wish I had this book. That's why I wrote it, because people were saying, I'm downsizing and I really want you there with me minute by minute because I'm afraid to make these expensive mistakes and I'll look back and regret it. I'll leave pieces that I need and take pieces that I don't. And as a result, they're very confused and overwhelmed. The process doesn't have to be overwhelming if you're organized, and that was the point of the book.
Right, you really sort of have, like anything, you need to have a plan, figure out where you want to be, how you want to get there, and make the right decisions.
Right.
Is there one thing that you want to leave the viewers with when it comes to downsizing? One little nugget to say, you know, remember this.
That it's not always what you think you should take that you should take. There are lots of pieces that you wouldn't even realize. You know, people will say to me all the time, I never would have thought of that.
Right.
And so there are lots of pieces that are great pieces, flexible pieces that'll work really well in a smaller space that you're looking at and you're thinking you don't need. So be careful. You need to take the right things.
Right. Lauri, thank you so much for joining us. Her new book, Downsizing Your Home with Style, will give you practical advice on what you should do with your own home. Right now, it's time for our Ask Lou segment.